welcome all to the first Five Pin Universe debate night. It's not going to replace it. Not going to replace our weekly podcast, but something we wanted to try out this week. What's going on, Tim?
Who's the master debater?
It's clearly you, Ben.
It's not me. I'm pretty sure I got carpal tunnel.
That's the first line you're going to start off the night with, Tim. This is downhill from there.
So this whole thing is just us bringing up topics submitted by our fan base and literally taking a stance and see how this thing rolls.
Let's go. I'm riled up.
No holds back here, guys. Don't hold off.
All right. Let's go.
Dexter's ready, hey? We were a couple of chirping back and forth, obviously our regular podcast, but there's something a little bit different. But yeah, chirping and gonna have some hot takes. Gonna form some opinions here. Doesn't make good radio if you're all in agreement. So sometimes I might not agree with you guys, or sometimes I will agree with you guys, but I'm gonna fight the other side of it just because.
Bring it on. Let's go.
Coming at you.
All right, we'll see if I can add these things in here real quick instead of doing it the hard way. All right, so our first topic is number one player in Canada for 5-pin bowling.
Right now.
Submitted
is this like right now best bowler in Canada? Or is this number one bowler of all time?
No, number one player in Canada, I would assume as of right now. Or as of the latest things were, I guess, because bowling hasn't started yet.
Personal feeling, or based off of standings or points, or
your opinion. This is the debate.
Okay, all right.
Well,
number one bowler in Canada.
Do you want? I'll say it. I'm not gonna say Weber. I'm not gonna say Dex. I'm gonna say Brad Mones, and I say that, and only because I think even though he doesn't play it a lot. And because of family and everything like that, you watch that guy play every event he plays. He's always dynamite, and he's solid. I just think he's the best player in Canada if he played everything he could play.
So you're saying he's not?
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So Tim's going with Brad Mones. That's your pick.
I'm going Brad Mones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time deciding.
You want to pick yourself? Go pick yourself.
No,
that's
I'm not. That's not. I have three names in my head, and I don't.
I got one. I'll go.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
My number one bowler in Canada is Tyler Titkat. Winning Regina, right? Barely, sort of. I mean, obviously experienced now in a couple of the adult ranks, but what are we talking, guys? A year out, 2 years out. He's already made, open teams, made Masters teams. Just recently won Regina. That's a long battle. We know how hard Regina is, right? I mean, unbelievable YBC youth career. I mean, dominates all the leagues that we play in. He's 275 average, as smooth as it gets out there. Played in the tour finals, right? I mean, he is number one. He's going to be a dynasty coming up here in the next 10 years. I'm very excited to see what kind of a career that he's going to have, and it's going to be a lot of wins. And he's going to go down as potentially the best bowler of all time. There's a big hot take to start this.
You know what? I agree. I agree with a lot of what you said there. But if you're talking about number one at the moment, I don't know if I can agree with that. Tyler's really, really good, and I think you're right. I think he's going to be a dynasty bowler, and I think he's going to make every team that there is. But if you are talking right this second, I don't think it's him, and it's nothing personal. It's just that, I watched him bowl a lot last year, and with him being in school right now, it has taken some effect on him. His head isn't in the same place. He, even in league and a lot of tournaments, he wasn't quite as sharp. You see him on tour final. I mean, he played great in Regina. I give him that. He played great in tour finals. There wasn't any school or distractions like that. I think when Tyler is out of school, I think Tyler will be absolutely incredible and, in the running to win every tournament that there is.
By the way, he didn't make a Masters team.
Thanks, Tim. I figured you'd correct me on that. Anyway.
No problem.
Well done. Anyways, I wasn't going to say a couple of the key guys, so I wanted to go off, but I think that Tyler is a
So-
top
so this
end
is-
bowler. He is
yeah, so
elite. I
this
mean, we
is-
make jokes of
he
it
is.
of elite
Yeah.
versus premier and whatnot,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
is absolutely elite. I mean, his outstanding career, just getting started. Sure, he might have had a couple of minor distractions, but man, is he a damn good bowler. So I'm
Oh.
putting him right up at the top right
Yeah.
now. Tyler is
So-
going to have the best year coming up, and he's going to be proving me right that he's number one bowler.
So is this is the part where it's a debate. So let's look at him as a comparison to his brother. His brother came on tour, was probably the hottest player on tour by far, won 2 tournaments right away, won the tour championship, well, the standings, because there wasn't a tour finals at that point. But do you see Tyler going the same route where you have a hot start, you play really well because, let's face it, you're new to the scene, you're coming off the highs of YBC and all that great stuff, and then maybe he has a lull now, right? Bradley ran into the same problem. He had a lull.
Well-
He was not playing great after that, and he's still a great player. There's no doubt he's elite.
He's
But-
elite too. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So
I
just
think-
based on that fact alone, his brother went through that. Do you think Tyler follows suit?
you think sophomore slump kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And honestly, bringing Bradley into the mix, good shout there, Kerry. He's right there with Tyler. I mean, I could have said Bradley take that, right? Bradley just didn't win a tournament last year. Tyler did, so I picked Tyler, right?
Right.
These two guys are elite. They are easily and better be right up there on anybody's top list. So I don't expect any sort of a slump from Tyler, and honestly, I expect even a pickup from Bradley. He's a force, man. You know that he wants to not, like you just said, Kerry. Okay, he came off hot and he had a good start and maybe lulled down, but there's a guy, Bradley, that wants to be right at the top. I mean, these two guys, since they've been 6 years old, have wanted to be the best bowlers in Canada, and absolutely between the two of them, will go down as the 2 best brothers to ever play the game.
Right behind Daryl and Matt Bradley.
Yeah, long ways away. Long ways away. We might have him right now. Not even.
Tyler is hands down one of the most mentally strong people. You don't see him get rattled, and I think that's absolutely huge. He's so fundamentally sound. I completely agree. I think Tyler will hit a whole nother level when he is out of school, and he can just focus on.
Who's your pick then, Dex?
You know, it's actually it was between 3 people, and they're obvious. I mean, Adam and Mitch are obviously right up there, but I'm gonna go with what Brett threw out there. This was the name that came first in mind, and that's Greg DeGrazia. He is, like Tim said, absolutely phenomenal in every single event that he plays. He finds a way to score in every center he goes to. You know, you take him to nationals on any team, and he could put a team on his back. Yeah, I have nothing but respect for the guy, and I'm going to say Greg. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with Greg being right up there. He's always a guy that seems to be a one shifter, right? That throws and averages 270 or 290, right? Yeah, definitely taking a long, deep run. I think Greg could be even better than he is. Put it that way, right? I've learned some tough lessons in my career and wish I could have done some things differently. I don't know if it's affected him at all, but I do think that Greg could be a lot better. And whether it's, he's got the game plan or the side outside of the game and maybe not the drinks or whatever, but he could honestly win every tournament, but he likes to enjoy himself too and have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I feel like there's something to clean up a little bit of this outside the game. He could be unbelievable inside the game, because inside he already is unbelievable inside the game, but in shooting. But there's just outside that could use some work, and that's where I see Tyler being so strong right now.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been kind of fun watching Greg. We've seen Greg bowl since he was like 16, 15 years old, right? And it's fun to see him really kind of watch him play his singles events and how chill and mellow the guy is, and how reserved he is. And we all know Greg outside of bowling and understand how that's just simply not who he is as a human being. So it's fun watching him bowl singles and be that reserved and be that in control of himself. It really shows a level of maturity to me in the sporting aspects of stuff, just because he is able to turn that off and be in the moment and just make sure that what he's doing is beneficial to his current situation. So, yeah.
How about you, Kerry?
I kind of had 3 or 4 players obviously that are top. But I'm kind of looking at somebody that can play anywhere. So I kind of look across the WCBT tour stops and stuff like that. And obviously Dexter has been phenomenal and stuff like that. But even he acknowledges that Heritage Lanes is not a place that he is very good at. He's decent, but probably could improve a lot there. So I think for that reason, it kind of falters Dexter a little bit from being number 1 player in Canada. So Mitch or Adam, like if I was to ask them to throw a strike at any center that we walked into, there's probably 95% chance that they're throwing that strike. So I'm leaning towards Adam. Adam's been so good for so long. And it's proven, like he took that time off, he comes back on tour, and all of a sudden he's fighting for number 1 spot, and he's winning tournaments. He won the TPC not too long ago.
Weber missed tour finals last year.
He didn't play TPC.
I know. He still came in 13th. just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, but he didn't. He
just to bust
voluntarily
his balls.
didn't play a tournament that he's excelled at, right?
Absolutely.
He makes pretty much every cut. He obviously missed the Edmonton Open teams last year, but I still think if I was to give him a ball and I needed him to throw a shot for $10,000, I think he could do it.
100%.
Yep.
Totally agree. Super grateful playing on teams with him too, because it's just you just have that confidence in him all the time.
I think the big thing, I mean, obviously, Adam shooting is him wanting to play, right? When he's committed and he wants to play, then he's in, and there's no other outside distractions. And obviously, the body, I mean, starting to affect, right? So, but if he wants to play and he's in for it, then yeah, he's right up there. How about quickly? Let's give 5. We'll run through and then we'll move on to a different one. Say guys to watch out for this year, right? Some sleepers, maybe some outside guys that could play really well. There, are going to come to the WCBT. Obviously, we could have this conversation many different ways. There's all the guys down east, right? The Matt Leonards and the Slide Berciers and the guys like that we don't see to all the tournaments. But how about sticking to WCBT guys? Who are the 5 that you might be looking out for this year?
Honestly, it's so tough because we haven't seen him in 2 years, Daryl. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, so give 5 people that you wouldn't expect that are going to be there, or that you would expect. I mean, give me the sort of a 5.
So I'll give we'll do 3 real quick.
Sure.
Evan Lecoussier, Michael Wist, and Matt Harms.
Who's the second one you said?
Michael Wist.
Michael West, yeah. Yeah.
I'll even throw Danny Bear in that. I really think those guys are going to come out really good. There's so many. Like you could pick dark horses all day long, right?
Sure.
So it's the guys that I think have been close, right? Yeah.
Mark Miller has a good start in Autumn Open, right? A couple of those Calgary guys. Really, that's the big one, and we'll do that, right? Is the Autumn Open? Who's gonna, from the Calgary guys or anybody that you have a good first tournament, you sort of set yourself up for a year.
Oh yeah,
right.
And yeah, that's something to say too. Like so now you have Davies and DeGrazia committing to coming to Autumn Open. So Davies never playing an Autumn Open before. Obviously the format's a little bit different, but I don't think it matters to him. It's still 8 games to qualify. Do you think Mitch Davies has an edge coming in, or do you think he's going to have to try and figure something out? I don't know. Is he playing a doubles event as well?
I think he was looking at it.
Yeah, I think he'll, nice to get that doubles event or a team event in, but might need a second shift just because of the lanes. But you fully expect Mitch to make top 40, right?
I think you can see Mitch as being locked for top 16.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think you'll just might as well lock him in.
we'll have a lot of time to debate the Autumn Open coming up, and it's awesome that entries are just flowing in for Autumn Open.
Yeah.
You're almost getting full. I see Len Ansett there, a couple of votes. Mark Johnstone.
Who's
Taylor
Mark
McCaw
Johnson.
for sure.
Mark
Johnson?
Johnson.
Yeah, Mark Johnson.
Yeah.
Um,
Eric Jose even himself that's commenting, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna come up with two names. One's a bigger name than the other. I'm gonna say Darren Rich. I think Darren Rich. It sounds like he's coming out to a bunch of the cash tournaments, and the guy is just phenomenal, and he's got one of the best styles ever. So I think if he gets on a good run at the start, he could be really tough to beat. And this one's gonna be kind of left field. If he comes out to these cash tournaments, Carter Stretch. He's been really, really good the last couple of years. He's put in a lot of work into his game. He's averaged phenomenal. He wants to start playing Masters and those sort of things too. I think he's got a ball that works in most places. So I'm going to say that if he comes out to those, I could see Carter playing very well.
Yeah, I don't mind that dark horse pick. I think that's a lot of people obviously don't know who he is outside of Alberta.
He's lost a lot of weight.
He's a heck of a player, man.
He can always play, right? It's just he got his mental game in there now, right? So
How about a guy like Tim Wiseman, dark horse pick? Hey, he's going to want to defend his Autumn Open title. You want to get off to a good start. We all want to get off to a good start.
We all do. I mean, it's
right?
just it's gonna be such a weird year, and I mean, a lot of us honestly neglected the amount of time we put in to try to get warmed up, right? So you're gonna see the next month really people trying to put the time in order to get prepped for the Autumn Open, right? And it's part of my fault because I mean we had all the time in the world to throw balls here, and we really did screwed the pooch on that. So, and honestly, like if you're looking at some people that I think maybe I honestly I have nobody to really pick. If you're looking at somebody who hasn't played in a while or hasn't bowled, and it might be dark horses or brand new bowlers, maybe some guys from up north, the guys from
Sasha,
the guys from Dawson Creek or the guys from Grand Prairie are going to start playing a little bit more, and some of those guys can play. And you know what? I think those guys will make a cut. So I think those guys will end up making something up there.
By those guys, because we have listeners all across Canada. Who do you mean, Tim? Maybe these guys want to watch these guys play.
You got the Bilodeaux and you got the Latondras up from Dawson Creek up there, and then you got obviously Destry mentioned Carter up in GP, but you got Robert Tompkins. Robert can get on a tear. He's slow as molasses, but he can throw a lot of balls and strikes, right? And then you also have Scott Ollenberg up there. He can play Haka too. Timmy Sharp threw a perfect game.
Yeah.
But he's a yo-yo sometimes. God bless Timmy, right? But
it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be.
He's a dad now, so he might be a little bit more toned down. So that might play in his favor.
Yeah.
Mike Elder is such a great pick too. The guy is absolutely phenomenal. He's so solid. Nothing rattles him. He's so good.
I think somebody up higher, Jeff Watts, had the idea of the four of us pick our top 16 and who guesses the most correct. We won't worry about the other sentence, but I think that's definitely something that we should do, guys. Is pick our top 16, right?
Yeah. No. There's lots of those things going on where you can you can round out your 16 and.
We need to organize those things once again.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to another topic. How about as we're talking about WCBT events, Carrie, you had one in there about an idea of having press conferences before WCBT events. Elaborate on that.
Yeah. So as I've said during the podcast, obviously this isn't a podcast, but I've kind of mimic a lot of what disc golf has started to do. They're the fastest growing sport in the world, and so I think they're on a great track. They utilize social media and all that stuff, and they've started doing press conferences as well. So they take their past champions or whatever, they do like a 5-minute press conference with them, and they do an hour long on YouTube. They were doing it virtually because obviously they had pandemic mandates as well. But now they're doing it all live. But that's something that maybe 5-Pin Bowling could do before the Autumn Open. We have a virtual press conference and we invite in so many people, like the host of the tournament, maybe a WCBT committee member that's helped running the event, and then your top 3 guys and maybe your top 3 ladies, and you do 5-minute thing with asking them how they prepped and all that stuff. I think that would be something added to each event, right?
Yeah,
Is
I
there
think
gonna be,
it's a bang on perfect day. You got to do it. A matter of scheduling it, booking the people, and having it on there. But absolutely, you gotta add to the aura to the event, and by having press conferences and interviews, even interviews after each shift, we'll do that. If I'm around, I'm happy to jump on a camera and ask some people some questions. Right, I know you guys do too, but that's definitely something to take at another level, is have those post-game, pre-game conferences, interviews, and all that part of it, right?
Yeah, totally agree.
I would like to see. I like to see the more of the personalities come out, right? I mean, I would love to get interviewed after you get knocked out and some guy just absolutely loses shit. I'm not gonna lie to that. Like, UFC, somebody in a pre-game interview, pissing somebody else off and kind of stirring the pot. I don't know. We need to get some kind of people interested in the sport, and I don't know. We're too nice in this sport, and there's prim and proper, and you got to sell it somehow, right? So if you want to have an interview afterwards and somebody wants to go like Randy Johnson on you and slap the camera out of your hand, well, whatever. Like I think it's great for TV. So don't mind being that guy. So if to go and film that shit at the end.
Is there part of the waiver that we do for WCBT events that you may be asked to be on camera, or maybe asked to, some of that? I don't know of anybody that would really say no. So probably some people would be like, not a good time, but maybe it's part of their contract, right? The Oilers, the McDavid has to come to face the music after every game, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think people would be opposed to it. It's just finding the time to run like a press conference idea. Like let's take Autumn Open specifically. So they run a Thursday doubles. So you probably have to do it after the Thursday doubles, which is super late at night, or you have to do it before the doubles. Or
what time does the Thursday double start?
I think 7.
Or we just have it rolling,
or we just have interviews as time goes on. Yeah.
So if I'm not playing the doubles on Thursday night, I'll do some interviews with people, or before we do an actual press conference before the Thursday 7 p.m. At 6 p.m. we do a press conference for 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, and then your warm up starts at 6:30 or something like that. Right, you got everybody there for the doubles. At least you get something going. You got a lot of people to interview.
Yeah, I like you guys were saying during the doubles, that would be fine if you had somebody to run it that was ready to do that kind of thing. But let's say all the people that are willing to run it are playing in the doubles or whatever. We need to pick a time that you're thinking of doing it. And I think before the doubles would be the only time that would make sense, right?
For sure. To do an actual formal press conference is the only time before, right?
Yeah.
6 o'clock, kickoff, opening press conference, kickoff parties. Add it part of the schedule. I think that's a great idea.
So here's the part of the debate. Everybody's like, well, there's just not enough money in 5-pin bowling. Who has the time to take off work, to get there early, to do all this stuff? There's got to be a sacrifice, right? If we want this sport to grow, if we want the tour to grow, if we want these things to come to fruition, there's people that are going to have to sacrifice time.
Well,
and if there's people that aren't willing to do it, then they're just not a part of it.
I mean, from a press conference, if it starts at 6 o'clock or even starting at 5:30, right? Because you can run it for an hour. Yeah, you're right. Get off work at 4 o'clock. If you're already bowling at 7 o'clock, you're going to be at the lanes by 6 for the doubles event, right? 6:15. It's not like you're going to roll in at 5 to 7 and put your money down with a partner and play. You're there for warm up. You're there for the doubles pots. You're there for singles. You're all that stuff, right? So then get there at 5:30. We're running press conference. It's not that hard to ask. You're right. Like people need to take the extra hour off.
Are we asking like everybody to do a press conference, or are we gonna do like a handful of people?
It'll be specific to the success of the event, right? Yeah. And that the proprietors are going to be there. You mean a WCBT? Yeah. You guys can be there if we're taking it off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll continue on the debate. so this may be a little bit off topic, but I'm guessing I'm not to the point that I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing the same excuse about the money issue and the work issues and stuff like that. I know a lot of people that the ones that complaining about it take off a lot of time for a lot less crucial, I guess, in my opinion. Like they take time off to go to a park for a day or whatever just by themselves. Like, why wouldn't you take 2 hours off of work to go early to a bowling tournament to help promote? Or like, there's a lot more stuff people could do. That's such a stupid example that is clearly not even real life. But like, do you understand where I'm coming from? I think there's a certain amount of people in this industry that have sacrificed, that are trying to promote stuff, and then you have a lot of people taking advantage of it, but they're the ones complaining about it.
Yeah, you're just asking them to actually make it a priority.
Yeah, just for one weekend.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe 4 weekends in a year. Is that too much to ask to promote such a crucial part of their professional sport?
Yeah. And if you're not coming to each of them, which is totally fine, just prioritize the one or the one or two that you're going to, and just spend a little extra time there to do those things for sure.
Yeah, like that given weekend coming up, if we have 150 people sharing all the posts and the press conferences and lead ups, the live streams, all these cameras, I think about the reach of that the 150 people can get to, right?
Imagine if we ever could get to 100 people sharing a post. It's ridiculous to me that we have 1,000 or 1,400 likes on the WCBT page or even the 5 Pin Universe page, but you get 20 shares.
Drives me crazy because it's not their problem. It's because they're not, they'll piggyback everything else, right?
So let's give them really good suggested times, because sometimes people need it to be right in front of their face, and say, when they're ready at the registration, that's the weekend. This is the time that we need to over promote this. So part of our opening ceremonies is, guys, take out your phones. There's a post that WCBT just made. Share it right now. Add a comment. This is the post, right? And make it, these are the ones. Because on the other side is, which ones do I share? Do I share everyone? Do I share one or two? I don't want my timeline to be filled up with the same stuff over and over and over. So I don't share everyone because I don't know which one, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So
it's all of ours for sure.
Yeah.
So we all want to be supportive and all want to help, but it just sometimes gets to be too much. So reduce the clutter, right in front of their face, the autumn open. This is the time. This is the post. These are the ones, guys. Share the shit out of it this weekend, and let's see what we can get for the next one. Right?
Yeah.
Drives us crazy. I think this is something we've been trying to work on forever, and it's just it's the same people doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But either you're in or you're in the way, right, Carrie? Is what you're saying? Is like, you know what, guys, there's some people that put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sweat equity into it. Just like some help, and don't fucking complain, right? Like,
and
try to have an answer.
Me saving my ass.
Carrie,
it's not.
You know what you need? You need a WCBT bowling passport. If they don't help out, then they're
up.
not allowed in the bowling.
Shut up.
It is a debate night, Tim.
Yeah.
You're just stirring shit up.
I'm just currently debating putting a knife in his chest. That's all.
So anyways, topic solid. Press conferences now at WCBT events. We'll add them into the mix. Let's talk to the organizers. So Miller, if you're watching or you're on there tonight, where we want to do a press conference for WCBT events, get some camera work. I think even between us guys or between the WCBT, you've got to have a schedule of live stream. Do we go on camera? There's a bigger discussion about that whole event of how we want to make sure that that's transported over to 5PNU, to WCBT, to all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
For the people listening or going to watch this or whatever, it's not like there isn't people helping, but there's a majority of people that take advantage of the situation, and good on them. They're making money, or they're potentially making money on other people's hard work, and that's the way sports run. It's not, you can only have so many volunteers, so many people actually doing the work. You need people to participate, which is clear as mud. But it's just, if you have a chance to help out and you have a few extra minutes, why not do that? Why be that person that drops in, throws your 8 games, and is the first person out the door, and I'll see you Sunday morning? Why not stick around and, hey, do you want to do an interview, or is there anything I can do to help out really quick? I got a few extra minutes before I got to hit the road. Stuff like that. It's the little projects that need help. It's not the grand scope is usually got people covering the bases. It's the little things that need the help, right?
And they mean a lot.
Members, right? Members are always obligated to be doing something on any other tour or any other thing, right? So when we get closer to that event, the Autumn Open, let's make sure that this is the post, or this is the one that we want to promote the shit out of. Not necessarily now.
Let's do it now. Look, we have 43 people live right now. Let's go. We have 43 people watching the podcast right now. Go to the Paradise Lanes, the Autumn Open. Share their page. Share it right now.
But what I'm saying, Dex, is
go share the Club Tour one right now. Let's.
But what I'm saying is you got to make sure which one it is. Because what I'm saying is there's so many of them out there. So somebody needs to start it and say, this is the one that I want you to share. So find the actual one. Share this, promoting the tournament, promoting this stuff coming up, right? Don't say, go to a random page and then I'm going to be fucking lost, man. I got to put it right in front of me so I can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm on it right now.
Yeah, Dexter's sharing something. Promote the Autumn Open. Get out to Calgary. Come and play. Big tournament coming up, right? Put it on the horizon. But then I'm saying that weekend is when we need to share it to the average humans out there. You know what I'm saying? The general public need to be watching it and live streaming it. The event is going to turn out, right? It's going to sell out. We know that. The Autumn Open is going to sell out. You're going to have 240 entries, which is great. But those 240 need to share it that weekend so we can reach it to 25,000 people watching it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these people are going to find out that this debate night is just turning into Carrie venting about little shit. But I think that's exactly what we need, Daryl. We need and this is kind of something I've always kind of preached at the WCBT meetings a few times, was you need a media person that is aligning these posts, that is doing all this stuff. Right now, it's whoever's on the committee when they get a free moment doing up something. Like, obviously I'm busy with 5-Pin Universe stuff, but every once in a while I'll throw out a post for the WCBT or the TPC shared today, like stuff like that. It's not consistent enough, or I guess it's not timely enough. Like, if people know this same time every second day is a post from the WCBT, people pay attention because they're waiting for it. If it's totally random, a lot of people miss it on their news feeds because, let's face it, Facebook news feed is complete garbage. So you scroll past a lot of it, right?
You're right. Totally. There is a lot that can be done on the Facebook pages for both, for all entities, right? I mean, it's such a massive tool out there, but so is the Twitter, so is the Instagram. You know, having a 5PNU or having a WCBT Twitter and Instagram, right, is huge. Twitter's massive, right? Mm-hmm. That's something that can go viral in a hurry, better than, and even Insta. To be honest with you, on the weekends, those are the ones they're way better, way more effective. I'm all over Twittering, tweeting, twatting, whatever it is.
There's a hot take
on the weekend.
Hot fart.
Yeah, I'm hot fart. So,
I'm trying to find one for Club Tour. I can't seem to find one for Club Tour.
So Club Tour right now is in a not knowing what they're going to do, even having a tournament. So we saw the recent post that Jeff sent out a poll. So don't really share the Club Tour. Sorry if that offends anybody, but right now they don't even know what they're doing. Obviously, I'm personally not going to go Club Tour, so sorry to let everybody down, but we're going to stay with Calgary and do Autumn Open. I've got a couple entries in. Super looking forward to going to Nebs. But yeah, Club Tour doesn't know if they're going to have an event, right? They're limited by the restrictions of the 50%. What does it look like? So,
right.
Talking to Johnny, and again, not taking away anything, sorry guys, again, offending Club Tour, but if anybody's looking to play that weekend, this would be the year potentially looking at your flights to Calgary to come and play the Autumn Open while there's still spots in the shifts to play, right? It's a great event, great tournament. You know, there's lots of opportunity out here. So anybody down east, sorry Club Tour, come on over. Mitch, Greg,
Wow.
There's lots of guys that are looking to play. So
Yeah. If you want to settle the debate, who's better, East or West? This is the year to do it.
Yeah, Central or West.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's right.
Central. My bad.
It's all central.
So let's start
so
seeing. Let's start seeing
next-
who
next
from the
topic.
East is going to come.
We're,
Anyway.
yeah, we're not west. We're,
Yeah.
we're still
Next
central.
Next topic.
Yeah, we're Prairies. Yeah, next
Hey,
topic.
Is Ontario East or is it Central?
Yeah.
Hey,
Uh,
so next
Tim, you got a
topic.
topic?
Yeah,
You go for
did
it.
Daryl, did you ever tell Sue you booked those flights, or did
Yeah,
you...
kind of. Yeah, sort of.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so you're okay now. Perfect.
Well, yeah. I think it came out when we joined Bowling League last week or a couple weeks ago, but
yeah, you're okay now.
now we got Calgary. It's closer to home, so
Yeah, you're
we can make a shopping trip out of it. Are we still getting the Airbnb? Carrie, am I in? Yeah, you got a room for me?
You're in, bud.
I'm in. Sweet. Sign me up.
There's two of you. Or is it
There
family?
might be, but
Okay.
You just said you're going to make it a
Sue will
shopping
come down
weekend.
Saturday night probably.
Now this is awkward.
No. Yeah.
You got a
yeah.
room.
Yes,
Or you-
there's two. Yeah, no. She's not going to come and hang out with me at the bowling alley for the weekend. So maybe on a Sunday she'll come and watch or something Saturday. But
Oh, perfect.
I'll come Thursday.
Awesome.
So Sue, if you're watching right now or listening, I'm going to Calgary for Thanksgiving. So. Yeah. Here's a good one. As we are talking about this, I like it, Carrie, is Eric, with all these shifts filling up so quickly nowadays, we've added more shifts lately. Has there ever been thoughts of making it a week-long event? I think a week gets a little bit wow. But
Yeah.
definitely adding in another shift on the Thursday morning, right, would probably be ideal at some point. I know, Tim, you guys at TPC have a Thursday afternoon shift, a
First
Thursday
of all,
night shift.
Do not ask Tim this. I had to fight Tim tooth and nail for the Friday morning shift, and
We need more
and then
shifts,
the
guys.
So don't be giving that guy any credit.
Okay, we need more shifts. Dexter,
I agree. We've filled those shifts. The Thursday shift was a success last year. It's going to be around again this year. Thursday at 11 o'clock for us at TPC. With that being said, if we saturate it, we may add in another one. There is a lot of good and a lot of unknown for making it a week long. If you start making it a week long, you're just gonna. I feel like you're just giving an advantage to a lot of the local players because they could realistically put in 7 shifts if they wanted to, whereas the out of towners that are coming in to play are going to be able to play Friday, Saturday, sort of thing instead. So
what are the odds of somebody making it on the 7th shift if they haven't made it on the first 6?
we don't have those stats.
To be honest, with you,
That isn't a stat that we know.
I think the value. I think the amount of the shifts would actually dwindle. I think the amount of entries per shift, if you had it over the week long, or it would dissipate across. I think the money value were for like us on a Saturday, whereas we are actually making money with the amount of people in the center, the amount of drinks you're having. If you had only 3-on-3 on a lane, it wouldn't be worth it for us, right?
Yeah.
Where people they're able to go to other restaurants, or able to do all this other stuff. I just don't think the value would be there for other centers. That being said, I think it'd be so drawn out. I think you probably would have pretty close the same amount. Not only that, people would be losing their vacation times, I think. I just don't think it would be working as well as you think it would be.
Yeah, I think on it realistically, no one's going to do 7 shifts.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, you know what? Maybe. I mean, Johnstone always joked about being the first four shifter. Maybe he'd be the first 7 shifter. I don't know. There are people that are committed to it. But that being said, I think Tim's right. For the most part, you'll start seeing a lot of local players play when it's convenient for them throughout the week, and then not do the Friday, Saturday shifts, and the shifts will just start getting spread out.
But I do like the Thursday shift. Now, is there any talk of the other events doing a Thursday shift? Because you're the only one right now doing that.
I know. I think Regina said that it was a thought, and I do believe Red Deer said that they were, if it needed to happen, that they would consider it. But at
A little
this
plug
point
for
in
Girl
time,
Guide Cookies.
Yeah.
At this time, no. They just don't have the entry level to worry about it. I think Regina would be the closest to instituting a fifth
You
shift.
think not Calgary? Calgary's shifts looks like they're getting there. No,
You look at the actual shifts, the re-entry is this ridiculous, right?
oh right.
That re-entry list is so big on the Saturday shifts that I don't think they need to add another shift yet. But
Here's a hot take: those Girl Guide cookies are trash. If they,
Which ones do you like? Okay, what's your
if
favorite
they-
Girl Guide cookie? The
if
vanilla,
they aren't mint,
chocolate,
they
or
aren't
the
worth
mint?
your money.
Vanilla.
Mint or nothing.
Vanilla.
mint.
Oh,
They're
vanilla,
not.
vanilla,
They're not.
you can,
The
you
mint.
can
They're
go
not
to
getting this
Walmart
year.
and buy a giant one of
Okay,
those.
okay.
frickin'
46
vanilla
people are
things.
watching right now. Let's put your
Yeah,
vote down.
let's
Girl Guide
settle
cookies.
down.
What do you got? Vanilla,
Mint,
chocolate,
mint,
or mint?
don't even bother.
Okay, actually, you know what? While we're talking about the shifts, there was one topic that was brought up. How many pro events can be effectively supported in one calendar year? I think we're honestly with Winnipeg being there, for me personally, like I think it's real tough, right? Winnipeg gets in the fold. Regardless of the Open or the Masters, if you had to pick and choose, those starts picking and choosing. I think honestly 5 or 6 max a year. I would think, right? I think if you think about it, if you're playing these events and you're not making any money back on it, it's $1,000+ a month, right? It ends up being right. And,
1,000 plus an event.
Yeah, well, yeah, you usually have one a month, right? If you're thinking 5 or 6, right? Autumn Open in October, right?
Mhm.
Then you have TPC, right? In November. Then you have December, you have Winnipeg.
Yep.
February,
Right.
right?
You missed January.
January,
You missed
right?
March. You missed
March.
April.
But and then you have May, right? But that's 5 out of 8 months, right? Really,
Yeah.
5 out of. But then if you had another one, and because there's always somebody who wants one in BC, there's always somebody that wants one in Saskatoon, right?
Steve,
Yeah.
how do you not choke?
Yeah, but Tim,
We're
you're
gonna
also,
get there, Tim. There's a lot. There's a big nut to chew on this. This is going to take some time here, but you're opening up a big box of cookies here, Tim.
yeah, you're assuming that everybody's losing, right? And you're saying everybody's spending $1,000. That ain't true. A lot of people Airbnb now. A lot of people are staying at other people's homes.
And
Like-
their local one won't cost them that much.
Yeah, like I don't think it is expensive. Don't get me wrong. For like Ontario, Winnipeg to fly out here and do all that, it is expensive. But I don't think it's that tight that you couldn't run 6, 7 main events if I hate to say it, if the Open and the Masters keeps depleting the way it is. The pro events are the ones that are growing. So if people
For the elite.
yes, for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
So if people are putting more investment into that because there is possibly some money blowback for them and stuff like that, you may see you can never guess the future, but I just think it's more viable to have a cash tour grow than supporting, like you said, 6 pro events and the Open and the Masters.
It all depends. It depends on where you're at, I guess. I mean, Alberta, like we talked about it. I know Ray Marco made a comment, right? Alberta, at least we're funded, right, for our associations out here with our gaming and our associations out there. We're pretty fortunate, so we don't have to pay our ways a lot of the times, but other provinces have to. So we're fortunate that way. It's just a tough bill. I mean, if you're constantly not making the cut, then you will have to make a decision, right?
Well, then that's exactly it. You have to make
Right.
a decision.
Right, and so you might not be able to make all 8. You may be able to make all 5. You might only make all 3, right? You don't know, right?
Yeah.
I think it's tough that way. Yeah, I don't know what the right answer would be with it, but I think 4 or 5 would be, for me, it would be on a personal level. I think that's good for me, right?
Yeah.
To go to. So here's my take on this whole sort of subject here. Is I think absolutely that the tour could support 1 per month. and should start to do that for the elite level. But part of doing that, you're going to have to lose something, right? And that's another topic on there. Is it time to change to just one national championship? I think that there's, at some point in time, the Masters and the Open perhaps look at an amalgamation of the formats. And my thought would be that you would do the Masters format, as in qualifying within your province, right? So you have the 3 weekends that you qualify in the province, but you also then you go to nationals, keep it July long, right? But the nationals is a men's team, a mixed team, a seniors team, and a teachers team. But you have an extra player in there that you can do substitutions. So there's no more.
Team?
What's that?
Ladies team.
How about a ladies team? Do they?
Yeah, ladies team. Did they not say them?
No, you skipped over them completely.
Oh yeah, sorry. Really? Are they even really ladies? You know, I love you all, but you know what I mean. So you have a men's and ladies mixed. You have 6-player teams. So you have the open style, but you qualify within the Masters format of the 3 weekends. You take your best 6, but you play as part of a provincial team. So now, if I'm on a mixed team, I might be playing as part of a mixed team on the 3 down south or 3 from wherever, right? So. And then what that potentially does is frees up 2 weekends. So that frees up your end of January qualifying time. There's your perfect time for a cash tournament that I believe Timmins is already that weekend, isn't it? You free up your open national tournament weekend that is now time for another cash tournament event. So at the highest level of the bowling, I think the tour can be supported because it's all cash events, right? You have 6 events, 7 events, then you have a tour events, but you don't need 2 national events that are volunteer driven or association paid for. I think there's too much. So, and part of that is maybe we do get the West guys. So maybe club tour is now that end of January and we make it a national tour. So you have guys traveling all over the place, right? So there's a little bit more. So there's definitely some bigger picture to work on this. It's not going to happen this year, but I think that people at the top of the game need to take a really big look at what's the big picture look like. We can't sustain the way that we're going here. Where's the growth? Well, it's with WCBT, with 5Pin Universe.
Right.
With
Yeah. So before the 2 association members put in their 2 cents, because Tim, I'm not saying I know what you're gonna say, but I have a good idea.
Maybe not, but
maybe like you're saying, the Open is kind of your more competitive, your elite. So is the Masters and stuff like that. You do like a 1 national for your elite Open, like you're saying, Daryl. And then like Brett just kind of pointed out, you run like an amateur side. Maybe the C5 does that through the leagues, right? Like the national.
Well, that's the POA. You've already got the POA, right?
Yeah, like that kind of thing. And they pump more of that money into that. And you promote your lower average players into a national event and stuff like that. I don't know.
So here's my hot take on a couple things. One is I don't think Daryl has a valid points, but I don't think anything can happen until the CTF C5 merger or anything how we see that what happens, right? I mean that is just. I think you're a few years down the road to even see down the road because, that's going to be happening in April, right? So we have no idea.
Well, we know it's not happening this year, right? We're already getting started. Calendars are.
The funding wise on things, that's a whole different level, right? I know Masters doesn't get funding, so don't quote me on anything on this by any means, right? Masters on a national level, I don't think gets funding. I think it's user pay. I don't know, right? So. But I think there's logistics there, but my big fear, and this is my big fear, and this is my personal level, and this is us being part of the WCBT, and I just think we need the more hands in the pot, the more I worry with people in tournaments. All you need is one bad apple to ruin it, right? We have a good thing going. Right, and I just worry about you got 1 center in there, you got another center in there, you got another center, and we do really good with the 4 of us. Winnipeg's gonna be very good. I have a feeling, or they're gonna be super good. But we all know there's gonna be one bad apple in there that kind of stirs the pot and ruins it all for us, right? Or it could have the cookie crumble. I think, right?
See,
And-
that's the great thing, and I'll defend the WCBT on this. That tournament can be kicked out.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Like there is no, we're not hamstrung to any tournament. Obviously, the core four would be ideal. That would never change. But these additional tournaments, if they qualify to join the tour, because they have to be sustainable and stuff like that, if they turn out to be just a dumpster fire, the great thing with WCBT is you just cut ties with it. You move on, right? The tour isn't absolutely hamstrung to it.
I'd love to see, you have Nebs as part of the tour. You have maybe if there's an Ottawa, right? There's big centers there, and you have Winnipeg part of it, right? We don't have one in BC. That would be nice to find a date there, or maybe that's instead of the Ottawa or whatever. You have 7 cash tournament events, part of the National Bowling Tour, right? It's all built on our 4, but you now have 7. It's all under the one umbrella, and you have one national championship that comprises of 3 qualifying weekends, right? It's all basically the big parent company runs it all, or sort of manages it all, and you have to fall within the certain qualifying dates. Think of the PGA Tour. I think about there's little standings inside of there, right? They have the Ryder Cup, and you've got the FedEx Cup, right? There's different ways of doing it, but you have 7 events and then one national event. But making the Masters and the Open combined. So maybe a couple people are talking about July long not being a great date. Sure. So that moves to the Open National Weekend, which is middle of May or 1st of June,
Just
somewhere in there.
End of May, yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. So it's not like we're canceling Masters or we're canceling, the Open. We're kind of combining the two, because instead of playing within your own zone, which might affect the whole affiliation and association, Tim, I see what you're saying there, and qualifying out of Edmonton 5-pin, moving onto a provincial, and the funding and all that might look different. So there's some bigger work to be done on this. But long term, this is how I see that this playing out, right? Not being able to have 2 Masters or Masters and the Open. So there's got to be some communication between the two, and between the WCBT, to be honest with you, about everything available, right? Along with Bowl Canada and all the events. I mean, there's so many freaking events out there that you just need a big master calendar.
My big thing too, and I will say this, and hopefully you guys don't get offended. This tour is probably, and we're talking about the Open Championships, and we're talking about Tournament Masters. That's 5% of our bowlers, right? I think probably. Let's be honest. It's upper echelon 5%, but we can all agree it's what sells the sport, right? I mean, so there is a give and a take. We need those bowlers to sell it. We got to have them some kind of something to sell it for them.
It sells the sport if we have more exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a give and a take to it. I think it's not the tour that has to work on it. I think the other associations, and I'm including the C5 at some point, Masters, and definitely a Bowl Canada. We all have to work on figuring out for the other 95%, right?
Yeah.
The tour was not made for this aspect, right? So
That's right.
So I mean, I think there's a give and a take to things with that, but yeah.
And I definitely think like both are. I still think both the Open and Masters are sustainable. I mean, especially I'm going to say especially like the Open, and I'm going to say again especially just in Alberta, because we are in a fortunate situation. But I mean, the tour events will cost personal money. For the Open. The Open is, $150, $150 to qualify, or $200 to qualify in your own local zone. It's a single weekend. You qualify, you could potentially in Alberta go see the country for $150, right?
No, we have to pay to go to provincials for our accommodations. We have
But I'm saying, but I mean, at least in Edmonton, we don't.
Right. So one zone in Alberta.
We're very
and
lucky.
Calgary, and Calgary too. And like I said, very fortunate. But I mean, we are in a position in Edmonton where we could see the country for $150, right? Whereas and that's seeing things that we wouldn't see in the tour. And like I'll be honest, I'm more of a tour guy and I'm more of a Masters guy. I love the C5 events. I love the Open. It's one of my favorite things. But that to me is definitely a thing where, we can go to Newfoundland and see Newfoundland for a minimal amount of money, right? So, yeah. I think it's still going to get players because it's quick, it's local, and you don't have to spend any more money unless you're successful, right? You don't have to go spend, $200 doubles and then travel and a hotel, unless you make
but-
it.
But
I like
obviously,
this
I mean,
discussion, right? Like it's not like we're saying that there isn't room
No.
for it. We're
Oh,
just
no,
saying
no.
that maybe there's not room for. Let's face it. There was 3 national championships ran in the same year. Is that necessary? I don't think so.
No.
No.
The interesting thing we talk about, it might be $1,000 to go play an event. If you play 2 different qualifying shifts, all the single spots, all the double spots. I mean, very rarely I think guys are paying $1,000. Maybe by the time that they're staying in a hotel and eating, but you got to eat anyways. Hotels, you can split it up. What I'm trying to get at is it's not a lot of money. I mean, we're in 2021. I know this might be a hard take, but there's obviously 200 people coming to every tournament and playing it. So people paying 2 shifts and doing the singles and doubles, it doesn't matter to them. So if there was another tournament in BC that was set up at the right time, the right weekend, people would come. So I think that a tour would sustain itself in the West or in Canada by a month, and people would go play. Like they'll go play. $500 a weekend, sure, no problem. I'll play my 2 events, play a doubles. You're likely going to win a singles. You're likely going to win a little bit of cash. You're probably recouping it if you're at that level. And if you're not, then don't go to all the tournaments. But for the top, give or take 70 to 80 to 90, those guys, a lot of them are making their money back, and it's not costing them $5,000 to play in 5 events. It's costing them $2,000 to play in 5 events, and everybody's got the money. They're playing with the money, so it's not the money's not the issue. Sure, there's some circumstances, and I get that, but I don't think money is what's holding people back.
No, I don't think so either. Not so much anymore. Like you said, let's say it does cost you $5,000 to play when Winnipeg joins $5,000 for 5 events. You're hoping to recoup some of that back. So let's say you recoup half of it back. So it's $2,500 for the year's worth of events. I'm sure everybody's capable of saving that $2,500 for the next season to hopefully bankroll themselves and generate some more money to play the rest of the year. Like I think there's a lot of financial gurus going out there now that know how to save money and are preparing for these cash tournaments, right? Or they're finding people to bankroll them.
That's right.
Right?
So I don't
That's a
think
viable
money's the
option too. Sell yourself, get sponsorships, get this, get that. It's a lot easier to sell yourself for the tour than it is to try and sell yourself for the Open. If you need, like Kevin Rack said, like it could end up costing them quite a bit to go. How do you generate that money when you can't run casinos, bingos, stuff like that? You have to sell yourself. So I think for that reason, it's probably a little bit easier for people to generate money for a tour side of things. But
Yeah. Okay. So I can answer a few questions here. Ray Marco. Yeah. So I was fortunate. We used to go. Daryl was with us. Me and Dex used to go. Scottsdale Classic. It was in Labor Day. We used to go there every year. You know what killed it was we had more out of towners than local players, right? And to be honest with you, if you actually go to BC, the Lower Mainland, it's I hate to say it, and I don't want to stir the pot, but they don't get a lot of support out there. They don't, right? And they don't support whether it's even the Open or the Masters or anything like that. They don't get a lot of support out there, right? And I think that's the big issue out in Lower Mainland BC.
well, that's maybe this is a hot take here too, but from what I understood, because I never made it out to the Manitoba Open when it was running, that was kind of what happened out there too. There was more outside investment than there was local investment, and it just the money dried up because you need those local players to be there, right?
You need to bump the entries by that way. So you're local, it doesn't cost. You're right. So to have a really big successful tournament, you need a good 100 entries from local.
Yeah,
Maybe that's not the number, but you need a solid local that will do it, and that's satellite. So whatever it is to do to get people playing in it, you got to get it.
Because it doesn't cost that local player $1,000, right? It costs them $400 to play a double event, right? So I think that's what happened with the Manitoba Open. Brett can correct me if wrong if he was there playing it or not, but Yeah. So go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
No, I'm okay.
No, that's it.
You say you're answering more questions, so I was just,
Oh yeah, no.
I can't cut you off.
No, it's all. No, it's all. You're correct. Like I just felt bad because Scottsdale it was good when it started. It was 120 entries, and it was unfortunate. And then like I said, we went out that one time to the other
I
one.
think-
and
I think
died.
I think we're on the right track though, guys. Like Winnipeg is likely to come in. I mean, if they're having their tournament this year, guys are going to travel. We're going to go there, right?
Yep.
So this is the perfect year to get your shit together, right? Winnipeg, and make sure you have the local support so that you can make this tournament into a WCBT event. That's our best option right now to make 5 events, right? Absolutely, we're going to promote the shit out of it. We want to come there, but make sure that the local people are going to play. Advertise the shifts early. We'll book the flights. We'll all stay at Scotty Barber's house. It'll be a great time, and we'll all have some fun. But then
If
after
we
that,
Airbnb in Winnipeg, can anybody let us know where the hot spots in Winnipeg are so we stay out of those?
yeah, right. Airbnb Winnipeg, we're coming. Let us know where to go. But that's what I'm saying. So
Stay in Brandon.
that's the next best thing to get another tour event. Then after that, it's honestly, is it the tour out west or is it expansion to the east? But before we get to the Winnipeg, they're the next one. At least I'm speaking out of turn, but let's be honest, they're the next one in, unless all of a sudden Nebs or something happens.
We got a trend. We got to go to Winnipeg, and then Timmins is the next one, and then Club Tour, right? Like we're just expanding that way. We need Winnipeg to bridge the gap. So
I would love to
that's
see
where we're
a
at.
tournament in the interior of BC.
Mhm.
I think a tournament in Kelowna or Vernon would be great. I think it would get local support. I think it gets support from the Lower Mainland. I think it would get tons of support from Alberta. I mean, half of Kelowna and Vernon is just filled with Albertans, anyways. So
Yeah.
Do you is there anything public about that other one, the Tour Finals event?
Oh, it's on hold at the moment. I think we can talk about it. It's just a thought, right, at the moment, right?
Okay.
Nothing's been.
Because then that adds something into August, right? If people are looking at it, so go for it.
Yeah. So there's an event that was talked about running right before Tour Finals. So Tour Finals would be, I think it's August 13th in 2022. So it'd be the week leading up to that. So it'd be like the Wednesday, Thursday, and the Friday. And the way to qualify for it would be obviously tour cuts. So top 32 on the cut would be automatically qualified for this event. And it's a 96-person field. If it didn't fill the 96-person field, then it would open up to a pre-qualifying tournament. So they'd run it Wednesday morning or whatever the situation may be. And you could qualify for that main event. And
Yeah,
it
so-
would just an added event to help the people that qualified for Tour Finals. Because let's face it, if you're from Ontario and you qualified for it, it's a lot of money to come out and possibly bowl one match and get knocked out of the Tour Championship. So an added event to invest in some money and hopefully win some money back to cover costs, right?
But the idea would be anybody who qualified or made a cut in any of the other events would be eligible to play at this finals. If you didn't, and so out of those out of the cut made, there's 96 people. If there was not 96 people, other people would get the chance to make it into play. And then at the end of that whole 2 days, 3 days, there's actually a chance of even making it potentially. I know you talked about that too, into the actual Tour Finals. But
yeah, so that was an idea, was to drop the 12th qualified spot for the Tour Championship and give that to whatever we call this event. If it's called the Players Championship, obviously that doesn't fit so well because it covers the TPC name a little bit. But if you come up with whatever the Touring Championship or whatever, the winner of that would get that 12th spot. But if that winner was already qualified in the top 12, they would block that. So then the 12th qualifier out of the regular season would get in.
Yeah. I mean, it's another event. It really builds the Tour Championships and the finals and those 12 guys playing in it. And you get 96 people to come into town that are all bowlers and nerds that we can talk about the bowling for that year and how the year went and have a little year-end party. I think it's a great idea. So adding that event and obviously opportunity to making some cash. So that's an August looking one, right? So the calendar starts to get a litit bit full. It is, but yeah, there's something that's got to, at some point in time, for long-term sustainability, has to adjust, and it's not going to be the tour where the tour is going.
Yeah, so the lull in the tour would be between May and August, right? So obviously people are going to argue that national championships fall in that spot. You're right, but you only can step on so many toes. So if the tour is going to move forward with these events and keep growing and trying to keep promoting itself, eventually we're gonna hurt some feelings. Obviously, we have some association members on the podcast crew, so they're well aware of the plans and stuff like that, but nothing's finalized. I think it's a great idea. Obviously, it's hard to get off the ground when you have a season like this, but maybe for 2023, maybe we'll have something running by then.
So we're not looking at doing that for the tour finals this coming year, this season? Is that WCBT, or you haven't decided that?
Well,
100%
we would
yet?
have to decide before Autumn Open.
Right.
Right, because now we would have to make a commitment that the people that are coming to the Autumn Open, if they're not going to become a WCBT member, because you don't have to be a member in order to play the Autumn Open, but in order to play this touring championship, you would have to be a member. So in order to qualify for it, you should be a member before you qualify, right? So we would have to make that decision, and I just don't see it. There was we put out a survey to all the membership here not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
And the survey was very positive, but it wasn't a landslide. So it's hard to just push into fruition that probably doesn't have all the support it needs at the moment. But
so maybe there's a side event that you could do for anybody in town. We'll run an event, but it's not an official tour event. Right? Yeah, come in on the Friday, because I think that would be the thing, to get some games in, to play an 8-gamer, or maybe it's just something sort of different, or whatever that might look like. I think we had ideas of another center involved too. So
we did the $500 Invitational a couple of years, or I guess it would be like 3 or 4 years ago. That event ran really well. It was a pins game style. And then the year following, we did the Gallagher Cup instead, which obviously brought some more players in and stuff like that. So the Gallagher Cup went super well. The streaming went awesome. So that's definitely going to be a thing. And we'll figure out the logistics of how to pick the teams and stuff like that, because we had some ideas from the previous Gallagher Cup. So that's definitely going to be a thing. But adding another tournament just before that for the traveling players might not be a bad idea either.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, for traveling players, or even just local players. If you want to get the traveling players, want to play some games, right? Some competitive games. They're already in the finals on the Saturday, but let me do an 8-gamer or something on the Friday, and we'll do a little bracket system, and we'll play the Gallagher Cup, and make a whole day out of it. So then you got some local guys who can play and maybe get lucky, but definitely do something for that tour finals, and then build on it, right? And then you get the communication throughout all the tour events this year to start chatting about it. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, good stuff. So back to we originally started.
Dexter, do you have anything to say?
Sorry. I was just gonna say, Len's comment there that 64 would be reasonable, 96 would be a bit ambitious. I don't know. I think 96 is doable, especially if we give the 12th spot to them. You win this tournament, you are in the tour finals. I think that, I think that also entices 12th place and even the people above it to play too, because if one of the 12 makes or wins that event, then it maintains that 12, right? So I think if you're giving away that last spot, I think 96 is definitely doable.
People will want to come. People want to be there.
And that also kind of forces your top 12 players to not only the 12th player, because obviously they would play it no matter what, because they want to hold that spot for themselves, but even you're rooting for those other top 11 players, because they're going to hold that spot for you too. So there's a lot of incentive there. It adds a different dynamic to it as well. Yeah. I'd hate to decide that the week before the Autumn would be like, sorry, 12th spot loses it. You're now shooting for top 11. You have to win this other tournament to get in.
Yeah, and we would obviously have to have a a referendum meeting with the other
Yeah.
other tournaments and stuff, and sit down and have that discussion and vote on it. But yeah, it's just something that was thrown out and is a possibility in the future.
The tournament format's pretty cool too. Like it's pretty convoluted. It's not something I'm going to go into here, but maybe I'll do up a separate video for the WCBT members or associate members or however that's working this year, if they want to listen into it. It's the tournament format's pretty neat. It's based off of PBA events, so be kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's not take up this whole debate night with WCBT coverage because this is a
Yeah.
5-pin universe thing.
Where do you wanna go,
It's
Dex?
It's exciting.
Where do you want to go, Dexter?
Ooh. Why do you hate Winnipeg so much? Apparently, because the stabbings, according to the group chat.
I know they're kind of our lovable losers, right? I mean, that's they're bad news bears. No. We just oh, there it is. I got this for you, Carrie. There we go.
Yeah, let's go with, has COVID slowed the progress of individual performance?
Good topic.
It's a great question, and one that we obviously won't have a definitive answer here for a little while. I do want to say that I think that COVID could have definitely slowed
Wow.
individual progress for the up and coming people. I think there's a lot of people that missed out on a couple of good years of growth and opportunities to grow, whether that was like YBC Nationals or first couple of years on the Open or first couple of years on the tour and stuff like that. I think for the most part the established players aren't going to be too detrimentally hurt. It has been a long time off, but you know, I've seen it with Adam. Adam came in and picked it up again right away. Kerry bowled last weekend. It was his typical Thursday night. Pretty shitty, but that's fine. That's normal. Yeah, you know, but you see, I mean, Schultz came in and Schultz shot a 370. Like, I think for a lot of the established higher end bowlers, I don't think it's going to take too long to get back into the rhythm. But I do think that it could have affected personal growth for the people that are still progressing.
Yeah. I think it is. I think it's going to be a bag of both. I think you're going to have people out there that are going to be super excited to come back and super motivated, and you're going to have people that are going to not going to be so motivated, right? And I think just because different things in their lives, I think, right? And I know I'm excited to play Autumn Open. I haven't honestly thrown a competitive ball in a long time. Be interested to see who all comes back. I think there's going to be out here, and at least where we're playing in our leagues, we got majority of everybody's come back. But until you start people getting to sign up and see who's coming and who's going, right? Yeah, I think you'll see a little bit of a divide, I think, for the first year. I think we're not fully over this COVID thing yet, and until we are fully over it, if we ever are, we won't actually have a full say in it. But Dex did bring a good valid point up. I think people did lose a lot of couple years of getting better, especially in our youth programs, right? I think that's a huge loss. People won't be able to get back right away, and that could be a loss of people for up and comers, right? So it'll take some time.
Yeah, like I don't think it's going to affect the individual performance for, like Dexter said, for the kind of the players that are already, whatever you want to consider them, elite or competitive or scratch players. But yeah, the progress of the youth players, maybe that would be my thought, is that because they lost out on a year of YBC and coaching and training and even the bowling school, that's probably more detrimental than anything. The time off, everybody's kind of used to it. Some people take a year off here and there. Some people don't play the Open or the Masters Nationals. The length of the time I don't think matters so much. muscle memory comes back pretty quick. But yeah, the progression definitely would be affected the most.
So, Tim Hooper, you were talking about retention rate. We were super happy out here in Sherwood Park. All our leagues are full 16 lanes. So we have got a huge, good support out here when it comes to retention rate. Our YBC is actually up numbers from the year before. We're up near 100. So that's really super good. Our Golden Age are all back to normal. However, I know some centers, I know Bonnie Doon has really got hit hard, and they haven't been able to recoup their numbers prior to COVID and whatnot. So it all depends where you're at. And that's a huge thing. I don't know. I think you're going to lose a lot more casual bowlers at the moment. Your diehards are going to be there and whatnot. So
yeah, I was kind of surprised by Brett Hendrickson's comment here. Do you guys notice loss of competitive players compared to the casual players?
Truthfully, no, I haven't noticed that, but I can actually completely understand what he's saying. I mean, there are certainly some people that were like, hey, you know what, I took a year off and I didn't really miss it, and other priorities, or they're still concerned about the COVID and stuff like that, which is totally fair and understandable. But with that being said, we definitely saw new bowlers last year that wouldn't have been in there before, and we've seen an influx of new bowlers again this year too, that are simply looking for things to do on a weekly basis because they can't go and do their snowbird stuff and whatever. So we have definitely seen an absolute influx of new players, and we seem to be getting people asking all the time to play. So I feel for Robert and those guys that have definitely lost people. I mean, Stetler, Jen Haas over in where
Yorkton.
Yeah, Yorkton. A lot of the small, almost farming communities sort of thing where you could definitely see that there's been an influx there.
I think maybe so more your senior probably got hurt quite a bit. I know, just talking to Robert a little bit at Heartland Bowl, his seniors were actually the ones that wanted to play more. They wanted to be in the center. It was the restrictions that obviously held them back and stuff like that. And it's tough when you have a family dynamic with small communities like that. They don't want their parents in medical issues and stuff like that. So I feel very sorry for a lot of the small centers struggling with it. And like Kelsey was saying, it comes down to marketing. Unfortunately, a lot of these centers are going to be in trouble. So it's time to get out there and market your center and try and bring those people back or bring new people. Maybe those people are just over it. They don't want to do that anymore. So you got to bring in new people, right?
It just, it took us what 6, 8, 7 weeks of calling people, hounding people. I went back 2 or 3, 4 years and started calling people I haven't talked to in forever. And you know what? It's
good job.
Well, you have to, right? I mean, but I don't think a lot of centers went out and did it. I was like, we got to, right? We got to make our money somehow, right? So
you got to fill the leagues, and that's the thing, right?
Right. Yeah,
so go back into the archives.
That's what we got them for, right? So I think bowling will be back, but interesting to see who will come back at some point. I guess we won't find out until our first maybe tour stop in Edmonton for sure. For at least Edmonton local bowlers from competitive. Yeah.
But I'd like to have an argument against COVID didn't affect progress of individual development, but it's a terrible take. I mean, absolutely, it affected the development. The guys a couple of years ago wanting to play and wanting to practice and taking it all serious and let's get going, and all of a sudden everything shut right down. Absolutely, it affected everybody. The ones that now will come out of it are the ones who really take it serious, that work really hard at it, that are mentally strong at it, that are playing in their leagues, that are, practicing, will be the big thing to really get back to the level that they were playing at. But for the general overall, it'll be a slower incline, I would think, right? For the elite, like we've all talked about, is the muscle memory comes back, right? You can play, start to figure it out. It's back. It's not that hard to get to.
Carey still knows how to rip 3-pins.
Yeah. Right.
I think I rip any? No, I don't think I did.
But what does suck is, like
No,
Kevin Holzer
probably in
says,
our match though. In our
you
match,
know,
I think
it affected the development, but it's 2 years
No.
of
Good work.
resume, right? Of tournaments, of making cuts. You know, us older players, that's 2 less years we get to play. I mean, sure, bowling's a long
Hey.
sport and we can play as long as we want, but
But you
You
know,
know,
what? That's a totally fair statement, Kevin. Too. But you know, as us younger guys in our prime of bowling, we lost 2 years of
Of our
things
best
that
play.
yeah of our best. I mean even like Tyler Titkat, who lost YBC Nationals. He lost his first Open experience. His final year. Same with Jenna Lamoureux. Same sort of thing. I completely agree with what you're saying there, Kevin, for sure. But I mean, we definitely lost prime time career years here as well. So it sucks for everyone.
So here's the question. What are you going to do as bowlers at the top qualify as elite and professionals? What are you going to do to catch up really quick? Are you going to go and practice more? Are you just going to throw your balls in leagues? Or how are you going to address that your performance issue and be better? That is that something that anybody's going to do? What are you going to do to make yourself better? That you know that you just lost your time, but you got to get right into things and you got to be good to play. What's it going to be?
So here's my thought. Obviously, with the 8-gamer not going my way or whatever, I'm gonna have to put in time. So because I'm so far away from kind of the centers I want to play at or practice at, I might have to go to a local center and throw some practice. I'm gonna have to put in the time to be ready for Autumn Open. Thursday night league just ain't gonna cut it. But now it's finding time that I can put into practice, right? So it's going to be middle of my workday, spending half an hour at the center if it's even open. I have no idea. So it's little things like that. I don't have time to drive the hour to Sherwood Park or drive the hour and 15 to Stettler, right? I don't know. It's going to be
What
interesting.
about the bowling alley you're sitting in right now? It looks like it's got open lanes. It's got open lanes.
It's about an hour away.
What about you, Tim and Dex? You guys have both said that, Tim, you said something to yourself earlier about not bowling. You missed an opportunity there. Are you guys going to actually go and throw? I mean, you are proprietors. You've got lanes right at your disposal. You can chuck on the shoes and go and play every day. Are you going to do that, or what are you going to do to address the issue?
Okay, so it's weird. It's strange being an owner, and I think it's like the same in probably anything else. But like, when you're done work, the last thing you want to do is throw bowling balls, and it's just I've never. I mean, I did it. I played like 3 or 4 games before mine and Carrie's match, and that's really about it. But the muscle memory came back. I mean, we played the Boxing Day tournament, and I was decent except for when I was absolutely smashed out of my mind. So that is what it is. Like it is what it is. But at least with us being at the bowling alley all the time, and at least with us doing this podcast all the time and doing bowling related things all the time, the thing is that I feel like I'm continually mentally engaged in the game. So like the muscle memory came back pretty quick, but the mental side of the game and the analytics and those little things came back pretty quick too, just because I think that no matter, I can't escape thinking about the game. Just can't. So Thursday felt pretty decent. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Okay, here's what happened. I like this debate night thing. Dexter throws a few balls in practice. He's like, "Oh, this is gonna be horrible." Okay, Gino Zebarth, guaranteed gonna be one of your best nights. Shoots 8.5. Was it, Dex?
Yeah, 840.
Yeah, really
That is
terrible there, big guy.
You're gonna oh man, you're setting me up to fail if you think that's gonna be one of my best nights. Get out of here! Get out of here! But honestly, I
it
feel
wasn't
like
700.
So here, you know what, I will say, Daryl, that I will say I'll practice, and I'll tell you that I won't.
Sorry, you will practice, but you'll
I
tell
will
us that
say
you won't.
I will say that I'll try to practice, and I'll probably end up not doing it. It just, you know what, because you're again like you're
Yeah, I know
here.
what you're saying.
Yeah, and know I'll try. Do I want to practice right after work? Probably not. I'll figure it out. I love Trevor. Yeah, and by the way, Trevor was drinking not Grasshopper, but
Bud Light.
Bud Light.
A Bud Light or
But
two.
But you know what? I think it's different. Like I said, like if your mental game is there, it's good. The hardest part I find is when you're playing League. You know what? You have a couple bad balls. You're like, oh, it's okay. It's just League, right? And you know what? It's so tough. You just check yourself out, right? You just check yourself out, and you start throwing balls, and then all of a sudden you look up, and I looked at Daryl, and I looked up. It was like, oh, I have 130 something in 9, or in 8, and I'm like, oh, son of a, then I had to throw like a turkey something for like a 200 something, right? And you know what? Like you just don't have that. We haven't had that competitiveness, and until maybe you start having a tournament or a competitive thing. You start getting that thought process because whether you're practicing, I know you can get the reps in there, or you start doing the other during League. It's just not the same. I don't think.
That's exactly what I was gonna say too, Tim. I think ultimately, like, what you need to do is go out with a buddy, go out with some people at your skill level, sort of thing, and be like, hey, we're gonna play some games. We're gonna throw something down on the line, and we're gonna take this seriously, and we're gonna make some bets. And honestly, doing that 5-pin U, the 8-gamer when me and Carrie had our match, like, first game was definitely struggling, but the thing is it definitely put me in a completely different mental state. It got me back into the competitive mental state. It came back, and it was when something's on the line, it gives you a different level of focus, and your analytics sort of came back really quick. And it definitely got me jump-started for the season, I really think.
So, trust me, Brett, I knew.
Yeah. A part of the interview process, I think, at Autumn Open, or asking the guys, okay, so those guys who made the top 16 and then even more the top 5, how did you prepare for this? How was the last month for you? Did you practice or did you just play League? Is League enough? I'd like to know, the amount of time. I as a whole, no. And is just throwing games enough from a coach side of me or that standpoint? Coaching games or just playing games isn't enough. You have to work on your corner pins. You have to work on your sides even. You have to work on, the splits. You have to work on your game and not just by throwing games. So it'll be interesting to see at the highest level of our game what the top 16 guys are actually doing. I'm the same as you, Tim. I'm going to say that I'm going to go and practice twice a week, and I got the time during the week. I'm going to go and I'm going to play. No fucking way I'm going to go play twice a week. I've been talking like that for 40 years, right? I joined the Thursday Night League this year with you guys, right? And that to me is the repetition and the practice that I'm going to get. Yeah. I'm going to take it semi-serious, right? I want to throw my shot. That's where I'm going to pick my wood and do those second and third shots, just so then when I play the Sundays, it's a little bit different. Playing tournaments, maybe it's a different. So whatever it is that you're doing, I think at the end of the day, you gotta throw more balls and be ready to go, right?
So this is an interesting question here. It'll be interesting for the first term to see if the cut is the same or lower. You forgot the option of above, because there is definitely a full opportunity for that cut line to go up this year at Autumn Open, because last year, they went entries. They went from 150 to 200 entries last year, notoriously 150 to 200 entries on the nose last year, and then this year is going to be, by all accounts, it looks like it could be the biggest Autumn Open ever. So we'll see. We'll see. There is a chance that it could go up.
So let's pick a number here. We got it. We're having a debate night. So the number last year was 2,100 for top 40.
Top 40, yeah.
Well,
262 average.
I don't think it's going to be lower.
Wow, Tim, Mr. Conservative with cut lines. Mr. Conservative, I was saying 22 and a bit for TPC. You're like, you're nuts. It's going to be 2,100. There's no way. And you're going to say it's going to be higher? I just want
to, you know what this, I just want to mute him. Like, those guys from you ever listen to Round the Horn and that Woody guy? That's what Dexter reminds me of. I just want to mute that guy.
Oh, at least when I say something, it's intelligent.
Okay, yeah. Gallagher.
People can understand.
Gallagher,
look at this. I like it. People throw it in the trips. I say 21-21.
2180 and 2187, guys. It's not top 16, not top 32. It's top 40.
Yeah, I really
Hendrickson,
think it's between.
Yeah,
wow. You know what?
For a long time, but
you know what, Hendrickson, that 1 year was a cut. Remember how bad that year was? Oh my God.
I think it's between Adam and Eric. I think the cut's 21-25.
Yeah, you know what? I think Robert's out to lunch, but that's okay. Yeah. It's okay, Robert. We still love you. You're out to lunch.
So along the lines of the progress of individual performance, how about this topic here? What's the most important physical and mental skill set for athletes in 5-pin?
All right, so I'm gonna say, okay, mental thing, the ability to forget, the ability to remember, and the ability to forget. You want quick analytics. You want to be able to pick out the small, minute things that you do in your approach that went wrong. You want to be able to pick that out quickly, but you also need to be able to forget. You need to be able to forget your last bad shot, because bad shots are going to happen. You can't sit there and brood on them. You have to be able to accept it and move on. So ability to analyze and then ability to forget. Physically will kind of go involved with that in my mind. My game got significantly better when I started going to the gym, not because it got me thinner or stronger or any sort of those things, but because I became so much more aware of every little motion that I made. When you're lifting weights, your form has to be perfect. When you make a mistake with your form, you feel it right away. And that really carried over into my 5-pin. So I became far more aware of my physical, movements, and that kind of tied right into the whole analytic side of the mental side of the game. So it really pulled those two things together, and I think that those things make a huge difference.
Yeah, I think the most physical skill set they need to have is a really good, stable approach and shot, right? Your form has to be dialed in. You can't be around doing something inconsistent. Your walk to your approach is different every time. Your finishing point, your arm is here, you're doing this. I think to have really good, stable, in whatever form it is that you do, if it's throwing a hook, if it's throwing a backup, if it's throwing something, you just got to be stable, right? Have the balance behind you, I think is the biggest key, is to and limiting the amount of variables that go into it. I've sort of dumbed my game down a little bit to do a 3-step approach, and I really don't get a whole lot of craziness. Sometimes I'll get the chicken wing, but I'll know that right away. I'm not a guy, Kerry has a really big backswing, right? I couldn't do that because I would know that there'd be so many mistakes coming from here all the way back down. So my back is to here. So I think that's the most important physical side of things, is to really be solid with your base, your balance, your finish, your follow through, and all that stuff. You have to be stable, right? And like you said, Dex, mentally, you got to be. To be successful, you got to have the drive. You got to be competitive, and you got to be able to, like you said, forget. But you got to want more, because once you lose it, I want to be back on the lanes tomorrow. But if I'm mentally weak, I don't want to play. It's not that important to me. I'm done. No, I got to play. I want to keep playing, because then the opportunity to win the next time is there, and I'll forget about the time that I lost or the shitty ball that I just had. So, yeah, definitely good things, right?
Mm-hmm. So I guess Kerry's waiting for me to talk.
Len is one of a kind.
I
just want to throw that out there.
I'm looking at the debate night side of this.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing against any of these.
Do you know what? I actually wasn't listening to a lot of you guys. I was trying to come up with something, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm, as you guys have listened to like the 120 podcasts approximately. I'm not very inept either way. Physical.
That's a double negative, sir.
Yeah, that's exactly. You're actually answering my questions very well.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're apt.
Yeah. But I think physical wise, like for myself, it's all about timing, right? And rhythm and getting that correct. If you, bowling's a lot about timing and rhythm, right? And I really believe that you really have to work on your game that way. Oh, Tom, you said follow through. Okay. Not that I haven't read that.
He's here like this right now, right? You can see him.
but I think, yeah. See, timing and rhythm helps out with follow through. But I think timing and rhythm it's a huge thing, because if your rhythm and timing isn't very good, I think you're not going to be steady on your feet.
I mean, you
You're
could
not-
be at the side of the lanes and following through, but what if
Yeah,
you're totally sideways? Like it's
You know what?
Tim,
It's
Tim,
helpful
do you
in
have
the
do
approach.
you have to get the ball out on the lane? Is that something you have to do?
You know what? I'll tell you what. There, obviously, you know Steve Cummings. You can hear Steve hit that bang on the lane. It works every time, right? Each of their own. I mean, but I really think that timing is and rhythm is a huge factor in physical, for me at least. Mental. It just honestly, it's just understanding the game and just reading what's going on and self-talk. I think self-talk is such a huge quality. But and I mean by self-talk and visualization, and I always they go hand in hand. Whether you're struggling or whether you're playing well, it's just how you talk yourself through it, how you think yourself through it. It's not necessarily. I know Dexter's very much a person that will, and maybe Carrie too, will think about how they will make a different adjustments and different alignments and stuff like that. I will usually try to talk myself through it. Like if I'm struggling, I'll give myself positive self-talk. I'll do mental imagery. I will work myself through it. And I'll just try to do that way, the best way I can. To be honest with you, sometimes, and as crazy as it sounds, and honestly, Carrie can probably tell you this too. I come into a tournament, I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to do terrible. I'm going to come in last. And Carrie hates this all the time, right? Remember we go to Masters? I'm going to be
up the wall.
right, and honestly, that's motivation to me, right? And that's how I kind of motivate myself a little bit. Find ways to motivate yourself, right? And that's how.
Find ways to motivate yourself by telling yourself you're a piece of shit. That'll do it.
But you know what, Kerry? You can't say shit because
Let's move on. This
you were the
debate
same
is no
thing.
good.
For as long as I've known you, driving you to Masters, you've always said, "Ooh, back when I was good, back when I was good." So you can shut up. You're no better.
I've done the same thing. But
Yeah.
Tim, on your line of self-talk, is there any books that you can suggest? Have you looked into some of the things? What do you do for that positive self-talk or that type of
They
stuff?
have picture books.
You know what I mean? Like it's yeah.
To be honest with you, like, there's sometimes where, like, it's just even the simple things. It's breathe through my eyeballs. Thank you.
But any like formal books or any training or videos or that stuff?
Nothing like that. But like
Okay.
even the simplest things, like you're always thinking about what you're doing wrong. Think about something what you're doing right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about buying a book that might help you along the lines of that? Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's debate something else.
Yeah.
I miss Wood.
Wood lanes. Yeah.
I miss Wood. I really miss Wood. I know. I couldn't stop giggling to myself saying it over and over too. Playing on Wood just has like a whole different dynamic. I miss the sound of it. I miss the movement of it. I miss how different each lane could be. I love that side of bowling. That's why, there's some other discussions in here too about, white bases, black bases. We won't touch on that because we're getting close on time, whatever. But like, I like the wood lanes because you could be playing the right side and there could be a lifted board on the approach. There could be a lifted board on the lanes. There could be a cracked board on the lanes. There could be, all those little things. I like that because I like that you have to make adjustments all the time to be successful. And I think that that's a fun part of the game. No different than playing a game of golf where you hit it into the fringe or you got to hit it around this tree. And every shot, it could be every shot could be a little bit different from a different angle. And I think that's neat.
I think that's part of, your younger generation. If I was younger, I'd probably say wood for the same reasons as the difference is in the playing the game and doing this. Now I'm older and my body doesn't play as well under those different variables. And if I've got a sticky approach or a wood jamming up, it just increases my anger and anxiety. And I just get my quads get hurt, my knees are hurting, my body is hurting. And I'm like, why am I doing this? This is just not worth my time. And I don't want to fight so hard. This is just not fun. So to have the synthetic now, where the approaches are the same, the lanes are the same, really it comes down to your own individual performance that day, right? And just if you can be the most consistent, be the most stable, throw the best shot time after time after time after time, you come out the winner. The body just feels so much better with a big slider playing on synthetics. So for me now at this point in my career, I'm 100% synthetic, right?
Right.
Just because I feel like it's a lot more consistent.
You're fair. That's a good assumption, Daryl. To be honest with you, I'll take the other point on that. I absolutely love the wood lanes because each set of lanes were different, right? And I believe when I go to each set of lanes, I enjoy the challenge of it. And I don't get me wrong, I enjoy going to synthetic lanes, and they're pretty close to all the same, at least in Alberta, right? But each wood lanes are all different. For my ball, like, it was different because how synthetic lanes are out here, they're oiled, and you don't necessarily get a lot of crunchers on the head pin, right? You like to make adjustments, Tim. I do like to make adjustments. I mean, Adam. I made a living out of adjustments. Okay?
His adjustments is changing his socks.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I found
I feel like that's a fight. That's just a constant fight. If you're having the lane, every lane is different. It just wears on you, guy, man.
No, I think it's where the best bowlers will come out of it at the end. So that's how I like to look at it. I think people who make the adjustments always usually end up coming out. I don't know.
Tim, where were your biggest accomplishments? Probably all on synthetic.
I think his win on Autumn Open was still wood. Was it synthetic? Was it synthetic at the time?
You know what? Honestly, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
What do you consider your biggest accomplishments in bowling, in 5-pin bowling to be specific?
No, I mean, I played.
I don't know. What are we talking about here?
If I'm talking about, if I'm just talking about in general, like when we played master events before everybody went synthetic, right? I would like when I was going better. I just in general, I played 6 events throughout the year, and I was doing well at all 6 events, but they're all just, I might not have made the team every time. Yeah, you just want to talk about master qualifying. There we go. But it just in general, I could qualify out of, I was doing well at all of them, right? But they're all different houses. And, honestly, I would take that. I would take the joys of that than even though I won an Autumn Open on synthetic lanes, I know I qualified better off the other
Or
ones.
you won Alberta Masters singles 3 times, and were they all pretty much all synthetic houses?
No. The last year was. Maybe last year was. 4 times I won. 4 times. 2 and 2.
Okay. Oh,
2 and 2. 2 and 2. 2 and 2.
So you're saying you like wood just for nostalgia?
Oh my God, no.
That's where I would come from.
2 and 2. 2 and 2.
Nostalgia wise.
2 and 2.
Wood was fun to play on because, like you said, there was a bunch of adjustments and stuff to do. But synthetic made the game a lot simpler, and I think your better shooters come out playing on a consistent surface. They're the ones that repeat the shots, that throw the great shots, that strike a lot more. I think your better players are coming out with more synthetic than wood. Wood adds a lot of, there's some adjustments to be made, but it adds a lot of luck too. You don't hit the divot on lane 4, but on lane 5 there's no divot. Like you do have to make the adjustments, but hitting loose boards was completely random. Like I don't know. Nostalgia wise, I would say wood all day, but for competition wise and for the benefit of the sport, synthetics way better.
I just think it's different. I don't know if it's better or worse. I just think it's different. You're right. I mean, people, the better bowlers that are consistent on those lanes are going to be, on those synthetics are obviously come out on top. But does that make them better bowlers? Does that make them better bowlers? If you're able to play on wood and all these different lanes and then still consistently play good, does that make you better than the person that can only play on those synthetics?
It's the same argument.
No. Well, no.
Yeah,
you're talking.
If I'm really good on wood, compared to a guy really good on synthetic, it's the same argument.
No,
But
no,
if you're good
I
on
mean-
wood and synthetic, then yeah, you're the better player. But
That's
you
what I
can't
mean.
compare 2 and 2. They're apples and apples, right? If I'm really good on wood and that's the only thing we play on and I'm consistently winning, that would make me the better player. Same thing as synthetic. If I'm the guy that's always striking on synthetic, that makes me the better
But
player.
I'm saying being able to play on both. You know, being able to play on
Right.
both. So
Right.
you're saying, you know, having the same consistent lanes from place to place. You know, the best players will come out on top. That's just for that type of lane, really. I think somebody that can do the best on both of those is superior.
I tell
Yeah,
you
It's
what,
make
like
those-
it's like
be able to
tennis. You're
make
saying
those
that the French
adjustments.
Open, the Wimbledon,
Yeah.
the grass. It's like on different variables. So who's the best players? Rafael Nadal the best players because he can win 14 French Opens, or
Yeah,
is Roger
exactly. He
Federer
can
the
play
best
on
because
clay.
he can win U.S. Opens or Djokovic who can win
correct.
Wimbledon's, whatever it is, because they're different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually,
Hard court, clay, grass.
you know what? That's perfect example because you look at the Tour Championship. How many won at Paradise, or how many won at Chinook on those levels and play well at those ones at certain houses just because of those conditions? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if you're good, you're going to be good. I think just overall, it's preferred the synthetics now. I would have said something different a long time ago, but now it's synthetic, right? Just because of you know what you're getting. You should know what you're getting, right? And the slide. I think the slide is so important on all the centers that probably isn't put as much emphasis on is approaches, right? I mean, if you can approach and throw a good ball and you have consistent footwork, you can adjust the ball motion and where you're throwing it. But if you're jamming and you're sticking or you're sliding too much, I think that plays around with a lot more than the pin decks and the lane conditions, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like with the advent of these newer synthetics that a lot of these centers in Alberta have, it's really forced me to do what I had never really done before, and that was adjust my sliders. You know, I had the great shoes, and I just never changed them, and I would just, okay, it's heavier. I'll drive harder, and that's fine for that. But I really struggled in Regina for a lot of years because their approaches were so fast, and I couldn't adjust to it. And with the advent of these new synthetics, where a lot of them are super fast, but then you go to some of them and they're not. Some of them are really heavy. Honestly, if it wasn't for those new shoes, I would not be able to play in Sherwood Park. I use the slowest slide combination that you possibly can have. But you could go down to Heritage, and Heritage will be heavy. So even though we all have the same synthetics, I mean Sherwood Park, Paradise, and Heritage, and Bonnie Doon. So Bonnie Doon, Sherwood Park, both super quick. Heritage, heavy. Red Deer is kind of like what an old wood lane was like. The S8, H5 almost is perfect for me. So it's weird how they're the same lanes, but they are a little bit different. But they're consistent for the most part, so you could find a slider that works for you and go with it.
I found Regina on Sundays got real heavy too, right? There was
A little.
transition through the tournament and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Synthetic will have that, right? You get the humidity levels change, the amount of people in the center change things too. That's a lot of things. Wood, unless you had like moisture problems, wood didn't have those issues. I didn't notice as much. Like the humidity level, on a weekend didn't change the approaches so much, but.
The one thing too, because you notice at TPC actually our approaches get extremely heavier compared with the art. They're still okay, but they're heavier than normal because of the amount of play and the humidity in the place, right?
Yeah.
I will say though, as I do believe that with synthetic lanes, and I think black bases do make a difference on synthetic lanes, that the ladies ball, like a slower ball or senior ball or a slower ball in general, will not carry the corners as well on synthetic lanes as it does on wood lanes.
We have seen a significant amount of more deflection for slower ball speeds since we switched to the synthetics, which is really interesting. Because that was the only thing that had changed, but we get far more deflection now. which is.
Is it because the ball they're throwing is hitting the bottom side of the pin more, or the bottom side of the band more, and that's why it's getting a bigger deflection?
Well, we had the black bases before, so that really shouldn't have changed. I wonder if it's lack of or less friction on the lanes or on the pin decks or more friction on there. I'm not sure. But
Or,
we've
you know,
definitely noticed far more deflection.
Or
since-
you know what? Maybe the oil carries down and doesn't, and obviously doesn't evaporate as much, right? Or gets pushed down there further, right? There's just I find a slower ball the deflection doesn't happen, right? Yeah,
You should almost do some videos one day, Dex, or slow it down to show people what you mean. I mean, obviously we can visualize it, but
just watch
and different.
just watch Jen Baldwin on Thursday.
Yeah, do different ball speeds, right? Like and then a slow motion camera down in the pit area and say, this is what happens when you do this. This is what happens when you do this.
Yeah.
On a general, right? I think it would be quite informative,
Totally.
right? I think even, the approaches back to that is that I don't think a lot of people change their sliders as much or know the science behind changing their sliders or that type of thing, right? The guys will just
but
stick with what they are. They'll change the balls before they'll change the slide.
But yeah, you know what? It's funny to me that that's the case, and I've been trying to push a lot more people into actually changing their sliders because it makes a world of difference.
It does,
especially
yeah.
going to like a slider to a faster approach. I mean, if you're not used to that, you need to find a way to stay aggressive. You don't want to lose that, so you need to make those changes.
Right.
But it's funny to me that they're less willing to change their footwear as opposed to their balls because changing sliders is simple. You have an S2 at the low end. You have an S12 at the high end. You have your S8 on. It's too fast. You put on a slower slider. It's too heavy. You put on a higher number slider. They give you the guide. It's relatively simple to change it out. So it surprises me that people are less. But again, it's just like everything else. You just need to buy some, make the effort, go out there,
Practice.
throw some, and then get that feel for it for sure.
Do you guys have slider kits readily available there?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So we will tell you this right now, and I might as well tell the world while we're on here. If everybody knows about the whole China and the shipping issues out there, Daryl can probably give you the whole details of his life right now with his promotional company. Dexter and a bunch of other companies outsourced their stuff many years ago to China. Well, a lot of the companies out there now are no longer letting any of our distributors tell anybody when they're going to come in with their heels and sliders and shoes and stuff. So technically, they don't know whether they're going to be coming in now or whether they're going to be coming in December or January this year. So the shoes that are supposed to be coming in from Dexter or Brunswick or Storm or any of that stuff could be coming any time. So we ordered some stuff in stock already, but we can't get an S8 slider right now. We can't get an S10 anymore. We can't get any of that stuff in. So the bowling sales might be real tough to find some of this stuff in the next while. So. Brett's shoes are going to be an S8 is going to be for $225. I'm not going to lie to you, that might be very, very likely because they have no idea when this stuff is going to be coming in.
Yeah, we're going to
From
have
China.
to create like an anti-scalping system in bowling.
Yeah, the buy and sell network is going to explode.
It's crazy.
Well, should we do one more topic here, guys, before we close?
Yeah.
Or anything that's on the list that we're dying to talk about? I mean, obviously, lots of things on the list. We'll have to do a few of these shows, or there's some comments in there we can chat on. What do you think?
I kind of like the one Brett put in here. It popped on the screen for a second. Who would you like the most to see win a championship for the fields? I'm assuming he's talking about a WCBT championship.
Just for the feel-good story.
Yeah. Eric posted right after he'd like to see
That'd be
Gino
a
finally
nice
win
one.
the Autumn Open.
That'd be a nice one.
So one thing Gino's never won, I think he's won 13 WCBT equivalent tournaments. So
He hasn't won the Masters either. He's never been a Masters single.
yeah.
That'd be nice for him to do that too. Yeah. He deserves that.
Rob Wolfson. He's just He's
Very
just
good.
the nicest human being that you can ever meet. And, the guy's got endless talent, and he's always on the cusp. And, he made his first cut. He made his first Masters. Masters got shut down. And I felt really bad for him. But you know what? I could just... I say Wolfson because I can... I can picture... I can picture him. I can picture him winning one. And I can picture his response to it. And I don't know if there's somebody that it would feel bigger to than Robbie.
Agreed. I'm trying to think of somebody that's put in the time, that's played at all these events, traveled all over the place, and hasn't brought a championship down. Johnny's won one, Jen, so it's hard to say. I gave him the win, so he's welcome, but whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just because he's having a baby, right? So he needs to bring some money home for the baby.
Yeah, that's right.
I got one for you. I
yeah,
got
sure.
one for the fields. Right as we're hitting the 2 hour mark, I might send everybody home. But you know what, fuck boys? Does it feel good? 'Cause you're looking at him.
Do you
I would love to win a fucking tournament. That
Yeah.
would be the cat's ass. Honestly, I put a lot of time and effort into this thing. Sure, I've benefited from it, but I've played a lot of fucking tournaments. I put a lot of money into it. I've sponsored a lot of things. I do a lot. So damn rights, if I'm picking one person for the fields, it's me, right? And I want to win a tournament just to, again, feel like I belong. I kind of think I do at Opens, but not at cash tournaments. So yeah, that would feel good. It would just it would tingle me all over the place. I'd probably cry. For sure.
Tingle you all over the place.
Yeah, it would.
You know what? For
So
sure.
Yeah, no,
my
I-
selfish
hey.
take is me, right? It feel damn good, right?
I love it. I love the motivation. I love all of that. I completely agree with you. That would be awesome.
Yeah, you know what, Daryl? That's fully true there. I would say the Italian Stallion, Michael Wist. I think that would be a good one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's putting in a lot of time too, and I don't know. He's had a couple tie for fourths, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually gotten to the final match of a tour championship yet. But yeah, that would be a good one. DB, you're obviously a huge pick for that. And you know what? As much as Bobby Kite hasn't played our game a lot, him moving out here and putting in all this time, going to all the tournaments, playing hard, and freshly makes a master team with Rob Wolfson. He'd be a guy that would be pretty cool to see take one down. Especially if he did it before Freddie Toffelmeyer comes back and takes one down. So and then he can rub it in his face.
Yeah,
That's
Freddie.
right.
Screw that guy. Screw that guy.
Ready?
Yeah. We we talked about females. I know Eric brought up Kelsey Wilton.
Yes.
I don't think she'll be playing this year, but Tracy Smith. Adam brought that up. Tracy Smith would be another one. Yeah, honestly, I know Brad has never won one. He only won Web.com, right? He won a Web.com. So it'd be nice to see Brad win one. Mike's another one, right? I mean, Mike's only won the Tour Championship. He never won one himself.
Brad's a really good answer.
Brad's good too, yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that have put the time in and have come close or just struggling. Like they make some cuts here and there, but they don't get very deep. Like a lot of those people deserve a little bit of payoff. They put a lot of time in, and I think that's the tough thing about our sport. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, but you can still grind it out, and you never know. Personal story, in 2017, I didn't know if I had it in me to run deep in a tournament anymore. I was struggling a bit, and then all of a sudden I happened to get lucky and win a couple. It's there. You just got to keep putting in the time, and you never know when it'll come to fruition, right? Like Robbie and Bobby playing Masters all the time, not making a team, and then it's all like that last tournament was unreal. It was cool.
It really was, yeah.
It's cool to see guys step up and to be able to deal with the moment, right? And not negatively, pitch or
Yes.
something. Nice to see them, legitimize. And you can just see the confidence soothing once you throw a big shot. Like, damn, I feel I got this. I can do this. I am one of these guys, girls, right? I can be here, right? And that's the biggest thing at that point is not allowing that self-doubt in there where you pitch a shot and then you're like, oh, here we go again, right? And it's just it's so big to be able to throw that big shot. I mean, that's why right down into league play, winning a shot to win a match. I think Steve Barker had a comment earlier. Well, another time we'll think about what the biggest shot is that you've thrown, right? There's you practice those moments of throwing the shot when you need it, so you can, put yourself into a tournament or a qualifying shift when you need it. You can do it, and you can draw on those experiences.
Yeah, there's our last topic. Let's hit that. Do you guys remember the last time you threw the shot to win something, and what was the moment like?
I think
I remember. Yeah, I remember my biggest shot for sure. I remember that, but it wasn't the one you think it is. It wasn't against Mark Miller, the 420-405 game, and the only reason why I say that is because, to be honest with you, we were just, like I always said, we were just playing for spots. We never expected that would ever be the first place, second place kind of thing. It was actually 2016 Masters. Everybody was super close, and I was down probably. I think I don't know how much I was down. I think it was down by 80 or something like that. 80 or 70 to Trevor Cook after 5 in the last game of qualifying for Masters singles. It was super tight, and then I shot like a 6 or 7 bagger in a row, and the 7 bagger I shot him out, and I had to do that. And I remember that was probably the biggest moment in my career, I felt, because it legitimized me to make the step ladder. And didn't matter whether I won, what medal I won, I got a singles medal to me, and that meant the world to me, right? So that was my biggest shot for me. Yeah.
I think I don't know. The shot I remember most. The shot I remember most for sure is winning TPC, just because everything else there. Am I muted?
No,
Or
you're
is
good.
that Tim?
You're good.
Okay.
He's dying.
He's going down.
The slow, painful death.
Yeah, my win in TPC is the one that I remember most for sure. I was pretty young then too. It was 2010. I was 23 at the time. And Daryl, you talk about being in that moment all day. Like honestly, the moment was just there all day. I wasn't high, I wasn't low. It was super consistent. I made a bad shot, I didn't even think about it. I made a good shot, I didn't even really think about it. And then I get. You do the Autumn Open and you win those things, but, there isn't really a singular time point where you can kind of pick and choose unless you're like Tim where you shoot a 400 in your last game and you end up winning because of that. But in the match play formats, there kind of is. And like I said, I threw a strike, I think it was in the 8th or 9th frame of my final match against Johnny there. And like I just silence. I wasn't up, I wasn't down. It was pretty quiet in there. There was some cheering, and then all I could hear was Lynn in the background say, and that's a championship shot. And that's when I knew I won, and that's when the emotions came, and that's really the shot that sticks out in my mind, even though I still had 2 frames left or whatever, but that strike will forever live in my head for sure.
That's awesome.
I'll go quickly, Carrie, then you go. My biggest shot that I've made is the one that I haven't played yet. So I can't recall something that big. So it's still to come in my career. I've done some good things. 18-2 comes to mind at Open Provincials, but no, the biggest shot, I haven't made it yet.
And now it'll be on video, so that's even better.
Yeah.
You'll get to relive it.
That's right.
That's right.
Mine was 2017 Autumn Open, the 10th frame. In game, you played 15 games, right?
Yeah.
So in game 14, Tyler shot, I think it was 400 or something like that to pass me, and Sam Gilardi played me. He shot a high 300 against me to my 240, I think it was. It wasn't very good. He passed me as well by pins. So going to the last game, I know I needed a win, and obviously I needed those guys to have tough matches. I needed a decent game. I was playing Bradley Tiggett. I think Tyler was playing Stu Ryan. I don't quite remember who Sam was playing. But it all came down to, in the 10th frame, I heard that Tyler had lost to Stu Ryan. It was a close match. So my bonus pins would get me past him. And Sam had finished, or whatever the situation was. So going up in 10, Derek Holm just happened to come behind me because he was watching scores. So I just asked Derek, do I have a chance? And he said, yeah, you have a chance. And then he was going to tell me exactly what I needed. I said, no, I just needed to know I had a chance. Threw the first strike in 10, and then threw a chop off, I think in 11. I don't remember the chop off. The strike was the one I was proud of because it was clutch moment, needed something. Threw the strike, threw the chop, and that's when everybody cheered. Obviously, the 10 count was enough to get around to win. But yeah, knowing first ball in 10 that it had to be a strike, that's what mattered. And coming through and actually doing it, that was huge in my books.
That's awesome to be able to draw on those experiences.
I remember that. I think it was 5 and 6.
Yeah, it was right beside the post.
Yeah, it was 5 and 6. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember I bring it up here. Eric Schoss was on 13-14 at the Open in Sherwood Park. I remember that. And if I remember correctly, Eric, I think honestly, I don't think you guys actually got any points for that. I think it was your only point was for yourself. Yeah, team only got 1 point that game, and it being a big point. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, for the 1 Central.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric clutched up and got the 1 point. It was huge.
Oh, that they needed to win for provincials.
Yeah, they had to buy the last game too, so they really didn't know what they needed. And Eric squeezed out a match like that. I don't think he really had any decent way of winning. He just somehow, I think he banged out and stole the point, and it turned out to be the winning point on the
Nice.
buy. It was huge.
Nice.
Another Open, I was sitting on the bleachers watching. The Open's just not my game. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Yeah. This is fun. We could go on for hours,
So,
but
just want to talk about clutch. Let's move on here really quick. How about those Blue Jays?
Yeah. Look at them go.
Holy,
they're in the
stuff
mix
is-
now, aren't they?
It's getting interesting really quick. It's getting interesting really, really quick.
Hey, there's Carter in the mix. Carter, we gave you some shout-outs earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah,
good chaps
Lenny's
out there today.
Aces too. That's infamy too. That's in video format on YouTube.
It is.
WCBT YouTube page. You guys can all check that out. Lenny throwing aces on the very last ball to win by 1.
That's
That's
right.
pretty crazy.
Hey, a win's a win.
Wins a win.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks guys for the first debate night. We did some debating, and then we did some reminiscing and discussing where we're all on the same side of the topic. So not the best debates going on, but hopefully we get some good ones, and we're on different sides of the fence, and we can argue them. Maybe we'll even bring on some special guests that are on completely wrong side of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Like how I said, wrong side.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
There's still some big hot topics out there that we didn't really touch on, but now's not the time. And there's some political stuff out there, right? Of course, the practice side of things. There's the association side of things. There's lots that we could talk about. I mean, as the season gets us rolling and all the changes to tournaments and formats and all that stuff, I mean, it's not going to change today because we are what we are for the year. But it's good to chat about it and have it in the open so that conversation happens at all these events.
Yeah.
Biggest one is let's share these things. How many shares did we get up to on that one post there, Dex?
None.
I shared it, but I didn't see anybody else sharing it.
I don't
Oh
know.
no, people were
I don't have
sharing.
Facebook.
People
I
were
don't have
sharing
it on.
for sure.
Okay, let's do this. Since we still have 44 people watching, everybody share this debate night video on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you can share it on. Let's
I like
just share the heck out of it.
Pump
Yeah.
it up.
Alrighty?
There was no draw tonight. A couple of them getting in late.
It's not a podcast, guys. It's just a
Yeah.
debate night. No
But we do
sponsors
want to
here.
know our participant occupation is what's best Girl Guide cookie, vanilla, chocolate, or mint. Right? We only have a few answers.
The answer is mint. Clearly, chocolate is garbage. Not a single person has
Vanilla.
answered.
I've been
Vanilla.
eating them all night, trying to take it easy, not crunching away in my microphone. But
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody.